right. Okay. All right. Hello? Okay, perfect. Hello? Okay, perfect. Hello? Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Echo. Okay, perfect. Echo.
Anybody want to yodel?
Echo.
Anybody want to yodel?
Echo. Yeah. I asked you first. I asked you first. Like the room layout's all weird now too. Like the room layout's all weird now too. Daryl, what's up, man? Daryl, what's up, man?
Still not going.
Daryl, what's up, man?
Still not going.
No.
Test, test,
Hello?
test, test,
Yeah, there's still an echo.
test, test,
Yeah, there's still an echo.
test, test.
Yeah, there's still an echo. Yeah.
You were there to the end? You were there till the end?
Yeah.
Were you there till the end?
Oh, yeah.
Were you there till the end?
Echo? Yeah. Echo? Yeah.
There you go.
Echo?
It's a delayed echo.
Yeah.
There you go.
This is ridiculous.
It's a delayed echo.
This is ridiculous.
Bugs.
All this money we got and we can't get our shit together. And this is new. You remember the old ones we had?
Yeah.
The thing, and we had to remember the OCD. Who number was 1 and 2? Like, this is new. We got this a few years ago. Like, this is new. We got this a few years ago. I don't think this is.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, it's okay. Let's go with the echo.
This is going to be very
Let's go with the echo.
Yeah, it's going to be distracting, but I guess we'll just begin the meeting.
Yeah, it's going to be distracting, but I guess
What?
it's just us
Begin the
right
meeting.
now. It's going to be distracting, but I
What?
guess it's just us right now. We have time afterwards.
All right, we'll fix it on the go. All right, we'll fix it on the go. Okay, could I have a call to order? Okay, could I have a roll call, please? Okay,
Chair Ryan,
I'm here.
Vice Chair Llewellyn,
Here.
Board Member Davis,
Here.
Vice Board Member James,
Here.
Board Member Salvino,
Here.
Here.
Board Member James,
Here.
City Attorney Boots, Executive Director Chen.
Here.
Chair, you have a quorum. Executive Director Chen.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, you have a quorum. Executive Director Chen.
Okay, thank you. All right, do we have any citizen comments? I see none. All right, do we have any citizen comments? So we'll move right into the administrative report with Executive Director Chen. Is there a way we could turn down the volume, I guess, for the... Is there a way we could turn down the volume, I guess, for the... Is there a way we could turn down the volume, I guess, for the...
Thank you, Chair Ryan. To start with, a follow-up from our discussion about the revenue generation course for the Dania Beach Business Academy. I've now done the computations, and contrary to the written report, I got a revised update. We had 16 graduates from that program, and we're in the process of putting together certificates and class pins for them, recognizing their achievement. We had a discussion about the Habitat for Humanity and their changed conditions of the proposal that was discussed last time. I did go back to them at your direction. We did talk about it, and Habitat has said that they cannot do the project without the additional funding that they had requested, approximately $350,000 to $400,000. So based on that, I see that we had three primary options. One would be to, first of all, decline the Habitat for Humanity proposal, and then contact the Florida Community Development Corporation, which was the second and only other qualified RFP respondent. We can go back and determine what their proposal would be. The second option would be to reject all proposals and then to go out for a new RFP to solicit new proposals. And then the final option would be simply to reject all proposals and terminate the RFP. I need your direction.
Discussion? Discussion? Vice Chair?
Yes.
Vice Chair?
I know that there's usually like a scaled. When the RFPs come in and the bids come in, that you do like a scale. How far behind was the second option? Do we know?
The second option basically was a proposal to come and discuss terms and conditions. They did not propose any terms and conditions in their written response. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, then with that, I'd probably just start all over again. If we're going to even do an RFP, I'd either do two or three, option two or three.
Can I just give some information? They're supposed to be lowering interest rates beginning of next year. So maybe wait a few months to see if the interest rates go down, which may garner more interest in.
I said two or three, either one.
Commissioner James? Chair, Board Member? Commissioner James?
Thank you. I would say to reject all and go back out if we decide to delay it by a few months. With the additional information, that's fine, but it's a different climate. You never know who else is out there now. We are a very attractive city, and it can't hurt for us to go back out.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? I guess we call to a vote. If we are going to, please make a motion. Go ahead, Vice Chair.
I'll make a motion to pull the RFP, hold off until the interest rates drop a little bit, and then go back out again.
Is that a time though on it? Can we put a time on it?
6 months.
Yeah, we revisit this in 6 months. Can we make a motion? Can that be the motion? All right, I second it.
Okay, so yeah, we have a motion to reject the offer, bring it back for RFP with the timeline of 6 months. All right.
No, no, to wait the 6 months to see what happens with the interest rate, but to reject all offers.
Okay. Okay. All right. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, continue on, Director.
Thank you. This is the season for year-end events and so forth. Broward College had their entrepreneurship experience. For short, they call it BCEX. This was held on November 30th. They had their current class of entrepreneurs do a pitch contest showing their groundbreaking ideas and products. They also had partners to talk about initiatives that are going on in our the entrepreneurial community in South Florida. And again, the idea of entrepreneurial development and new startups in South Florida, we are very quickly rising to the top of the communities or the metro areas in the United States for startup entrepreneurship. I was invited to speak at the Committee of 100 of Hollywood. Basically, I described to them the historic growth of the CRA and talked about some of the initiatives that are underway now, and the information was well received. They particularly were interested in the West First Avenue Visioning Plan and the IP to Market Incubator. With that, that's my admin report.
All right. All right. Thank you, Director. Yeah, we have a question from Board Member James. Thank you, Director.
Yes, could you give us an update on the satellite office? And how is it? Is it completely open? How is it?
Yes, the satellite office is open and available. Unfortunately, at this time, we're in the process of generating the recruitment for the positions. The people who were going to be moved over to that location no longer are with the CRA.
Right.
But the office is there and it is open and available. And by the way, the Dan Marino Foundation has also moved their headquarters office into that office as well.
So if someone comes there seeking CRA resources or information, who do they
get
speak
referred
to?
over to me here.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
What are we doing to try and fill that spot?
Well, the original plan was to move Bill's office and Keisha's office to that location. Keisha's position is no longer in the CRA. It was forfeited to support the events with Parks and Rec. And Bill's office is fairly newly vacant. We will be recruiting for that position.
Yeah, but we have 3 offices and then
No.
a shared boardroom in the
We have
offices?
2 offices and exactly, we have 2 offices and the classroom for the incubator.
Okay.
The incubator is still being planned for there, and in fact, the FIU at the Fitzy event was recruiting for applications for the next cohort, which should be in the first quarter of next year. They do plan to operate their next incubator series out of this office.
Out of the classroom.
Out of the classroom, yes. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we have 2 vacant offices.
That's correct.
Okay, so we have 2.
I will, if I may, I didn't put this on the report, but I understand, I've been approached by the Dan Marino Foundation. They have actually asked, we have the 2 front window offices. The Dan Marino Foundation would like to take over one of those window offices so that they would have a street side presence for that building. I haven't brought it to you yet because this is something we also need to discuss with the landlord. The CRA should not pay for that office if they have Dan Marino's in there, all right? So we haven't had that conversation with the landlord. This is a fairly new subject that's been brought to the table, but it is something without the second office really needed because of the absence of Keisha's position. If the economics work out and we get a fair abatement of the rent payment there, my recommendation when it's a subject to be discussed would be to probably relinquish it to Dan Marino in favor of a savings in the monthly rent.
Okay. Are we allowed to sublease to them? Okay.
Basically, I would just terminate that part of our contract. It'd be adjustment, it's.
I don't
sorry about-
recall a sublease in the
Yeah,
agreement.
it's not a
Yeah.
lease. It's actually a membership. So we simply relinquish the membership on that office.
Oh, it's a membership. That's how they set it up.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, it's a membership. That's how they.
So
And
it's
it- and
easy
it's
to do.
monthly?
It's an annual contract, renewable for 3 years, but it's paid on a monthly basis.
Okay. Is there any termination clause or anything? Yeah.
There are termination clauses. I
Yes.
don't have it with me, but
I'm sure there's a
Yes.
penalty. Yeah, that you have to pay probably 2 months. I'm sure there's a penalty. I think by law that's what
I, that's, I think that's about right, but again, I don't have that. It's been quite a while since I've done the lease. We had to look at it.
Okay.
But it can be terminated, and this is why they would be, it's a subject, this subject of letting Dan Marino have one of those offices. It's conversation that the landlord needs to be in so he can make the adjustment. All right, we don't need to go into termination procedure and so forth. We just need to amend our membership agreement if he agrees.
Okay. So we'll keep one office.
We would keep one office and the incubator space, yes.
Okay. Okay. And that's for the vacant position.
That's due to that vacant,
And that's for the
that
vacant
no longer existing position in the CRA.
Board Member James.
Yes, thank you. That was going to be a concern of mine because it seems like at this point we're paying for other people to occupy the space, and I just want to be clear if that's what we're doing. So I'm absolutely okay if the Dan Marino Foundation wants to split those costs, or what have you, especially having a office that fronts Federal Highway. I've been skeptical about this location, but I definitely want to ensure that we are maximizing it because I know this first year has had some turnover and some situations come up, but I want to make sure, I mean, because we're spending about $60,000 annually, correct?
Correct.
I want to make sure that we're not spending $60,000 to have other businesses in there. And if we are, let's call it what it is and not, and just be transparent with our taxpayers that this is what we're using those funds for. But I would really like to see programming for the CRA come out of what we are investing in. Thank you.
Yes, I completely agree. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member James. Board Member Davis. Thank you, Board Member James. Board Member Davis.
Yes, thank you. I do understand and agree with some of my colleagues' comments. However, I do think it is a win-win for the CRA and for the city to have a front office space with the Dan Marino Foundation in the front office. I think that can only bring us more business and more awareness to becoming an autism-friendly city and making sure that we are inclusive of everybody right in the front of Federal Highway. So I do think that they should have skin in the game, but I also think it's a very good situation for us to be in as far as the CRA is concerned, having the Dan Marino Foundation having a front office on Federal Highway. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just echo that a little more. It's when you look at the window, it looks nice. It does. When you look at the window, it's good advertisement for the CRA for the city, and yeah, for it to be next to Dan Marino Foundation, that's definitely a win-win. So we just want to, as Board Member James said, is to be clear with how we're using the funds and just have more of a objective. Like we have to set a goal for ourselves for that office. We don't want to lose it. We worked hard to obtain that, and that whole building is recently redone. So us being in that building actually makes it more attractive for more occupants to occupy that building, I guess. And get a contract as well.
In fact, the landlord has released several spaces there since he's done this. He's got a real estate office in the residence there. The Marino Foundation has signed membership agreements and so forth. And there's another firm. So this is actually starting. It is an opportunity that businesses are looking for and flocking to. It's also driving the property tax on that property now, because before it was a vacant property. which basically says it wasn't generating property tax, but now it is. So we're getting some return on this in addition to the visibility on the federal highway. And between um, the landlord, FIU, the CRA, and the Marino Foundation, I expect it's going to be a very active community center with all kinds of programs and workforce training at all levels and degrees.
So we're trying to fill a vacant position and occupy that front office. So the CRA is right next to it.
That is
It's not
correct.
going to be another business or an incubator that we put in there.
No, again, specifically, one of the Marino Foundation really wants one of the front windows for their logo. And so forth.
Okay. And how soon will we work that out? They already signed a contract, you said, right? Or,
Yes, but not for that
membership?
space.
Oh,
That
not for
space
that space?
would be a conversation between us with the landlord in agreement, because he would have to adjust our membership fee
Mhm.
for that space.
Okay. So I'm sure we could we get this handled probably within
I
before
can-
next CRA meeting. Yeah.
Well, this subject just came up about 10 days ago, 10 days or 2 weeks ago. So it's a brand new subject with their interest.
Okay. But everything's done, right?
It is.
They just have to move
The
in
building is
sign
up
something.
and operating.
Okay. Yeah, I've been in there. It's very nice. Yeah, I've been in there. It's very nice. Okay, so we have direction there. Anything else? Nope. All right, move on to the consent agenda. We have the minutes for November 14th. We approve. Oh, it's all consent agenda. Do I have anything anybody want to pull from the consent agenda? Yes, Vice Chair.
I'm gonna pull 5.3.
Okay. Board Member James.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of 5.3.
I have a motion for approval, with the exception of 5.3.
Second.
And I have a second. All in favor? Aye. All right, none opposed? Aye. Please, Eve, 5.3.
A resolution of the Board of Directors of the CRA authorizing execution of a one-year renewal agreement with Real Time Marketing Group LLC to provide digital marketing services to promote the Dania Beach CRA district, providing for conflicts and effective dates.
So I'm just pulling this because I know there's a list in here of the things that they do, but I don't see any advertising at all, and I'm just wondering what they're doing.
They actually take any information that we have on events and post it on our website, on Facebook. They manage both our website maintenance as well as our Facebook and Instagram accounts and so forth. I will tell you that this contract is a reduction from last year's, because we have terminated with the turnover of the Dania After Dark event and Arts and Seafood to Parks and Rec. This is no longer under the CRA, so this is no longer under that contract. But basically, they maintain, we have 3 websites that they do maintain and do promotions and events on, as well as our Facebook accounts. So they're doing all that.
Can you give us the numbers?
Yes. So the agreement for this renewal is $29,724 for the entire year. This is a $5,000 reduction from last year's contract. This was contemplated as an expense by the CRA, and it is in the fiscal year 2024 budget. There is an account number for it.
Is the budgeted amount with the extra 5,000?
It is.
My only question. If anybody wants to make a motion, feel free.
Board Member Salvino?
Yeah, I'm just curious. I heard him say that he does the Facebook and the Facebook post for the CRA. Is that what you said?
Yes.
And also, so does it. So the last post they did was October 30th. That's over 2 months. So it's just the Business Academy that's on it. Is there nothing else that we have to? I mean, and they're also monitoring the website, but there's nothing to change on the website. Is that right?
They're also doing maintenance on the websites. They're maintaining the what's the right word? The domains and so forth for us. They are also doing the patch and the patch website and notices for that. So, yeah, I think the last posting that she did for us was in November. Um,
She just looked it up. Said October.
but I can look that up. But also, as frankly, as the incubator gets into movement and so forth, we start doing the classes and the events. That will become, frankly, I think they're going to be weekly programming out of that
When's
office.
when is the contract up?
It's a 1 year contract, but like all of our contracts, it can be terminated with a 30-day notice.
When's it up now? I mean, is it up now?
It is up now. Yes.
I mean, because I follow both the city site and the CRA site, and I rarely see any sort of posts on the CRA website or on the CRA Facebook page or social media pages. I see a lot from the city, a lot. Like every day, there's at least one. And it's just, when you're spending that much money for somebody to do something like that, you expect to see a lot more. That's all.
Board Member James?
Yes, I tend to agree with it. Most of the posts for the last several months has been the Business Academy and Oktoberfest. There were some envisioning posts, but spent $30,000. I definitely think just reposting something. Yeah, it's probably the patches page, but I think that we need to go back out and definitely look and see how we can increase engagement, not just posting, but actual engagement. How do we grow our visibility? Because several of those posts don't even have one like. So when you don't have a like, you're not in the algorithms, and all of those things play a role. And so if they're a marketing company, I would like to see some goals and objectives that they can, obtain and justify $30,000 for sharing a post that's the city's post, or things that something that's recurring, that really takes no thought and kind of effort into it.
Board Member Salvino?
Yep. $30,000 is $600 a week that they're doing. We're not even getting one post a week on it. So, I would say that at this point, if until I hate to just drop off without getting anything on it, but I think that if we can drop it with a 30-day notice, maybe we could renew it for the 1 year. But I would definitely look into something different, or find out if they're going to put a little bit more effort into it. And then if they don't put the effort into it, we can drop it at that point, because I hate to just shut it off and not have anything. But they are definitely not doing anything for $600 a week. Yeah, well, he said month to month.
The city's people haven't
Yeah, well, he
built
said month to
the
month.
site, so it's
Yeah, I would say we wait. Let's give it some time. I'd wait till the next.
I think Michael needs to have a chat with them and ask them what, you can tell them plain out that we're talking about $600 a week, $30,000 a year, and for one post a month of this repetitively, we have to, it's not really something that's viable financially for the city to be paying that money out. I think that they could do a better job. It doesn't have to be extensive, but it's got to be just a little bit more than the same thing. All they do is keep reposting the same thing. It's not enough. That's all. So my recommendation on the consent, if it's okay, board vice chair, that we would accept this and go ahead and make the motion for the 1 year renewal, but monitor it month to month and see if we can find any approval.
Do you want to approve it for a month to month and
Maybe
negotiate?
if they'll do that, sure.
Negotiate. Let's
Yeah,
move forward for a month to month right now
Why don't we go out
and
tomorrow?
negotiate with them for a better contract to come back to the commission.
Yeah, but
with
it's
the
not
terms
just
that
the,
they're
it's
looking
not
for.
just the contract I'm looking at. I mean, I'm
No,
looking
for
at
the services.
The services.
I don't think we're losing anything by waiting a little, because obviously there's not been much going on, and now is the time more than ever to have content. I would say, and I don't look at it as much, the likes and everything, but from what I'm hearing, it's ineffective. You know what I mean? And we're just, I know it's budgeted for, but it doesn't mean that we just have to throw it away. Because I think $30,000 can go a long way. Like, geez, what it costs to send out the Pioneer, like $6,000. And look at the impact that had. We could do something like that for the CRA, for a lot cheaper and get more of a message out, than just posting.
Yep.
Yeah. Here,
Well, whatever the majority of you decide, I'll go along with. I just think that we'll monitor. Whatever the majority of you decide, I'll
Okay. Board Member James.
Yes, we can always terminate in 30 days. Can we have them come out here so they can hear our expectations and we can kind of talk to them and see, what they're going to do and what our vision kind of looks like for social media marketing and how we can work together if we're going to keep them for an additional year. I think that they need to have a seat at the table and understand our different ideas and expectations of their scope of work. So everyone okay for that for the next CRA meeting next year? Everyone okay for that for the
Yes.
next CRA
Okay.
meeting?
And to be clear,
We have
it's terminable
consensus,
upon
yes.
10
Okay.
days notice.
Okay, so
Okay,
I'll make
that's
a
good
motion
enough.
to approve 5.3.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to
Perfect.
approve 5.3 as amended.
All right, I have a motion, and I have a second from Board Member Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All in favor? None? Aye. Any opposed? All in favor? None? Okay. Yeah, month to month. And we have 10 days. We have 10 days to terminate as well. But let's not let this go by the wayside and definitely have them come in. Yeah. Exactly. All right, we have no proposals and bids, so now item 7.1, discussion and possible action. Eve?
A resolution of the Board of Directors of the CRA authorizing the proper city officials to execute an agreement with the Fruitful Fields, Inc. to provide operational services related to the patch for an amount not to exceed $77,865 per year, providing for conflicts and an effective date.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Vice Chair?
I think before we discuss this, I think we probably should just go to number 2, because we're gonna have a general discussion about the patch anyway, and so before we start agreeing or not agreeing to hiring or whatever, I think we probably need to discuss the whole patch.
Yeah, let's have the patch discussion first, and then
Yes.
we will discuss item 7.1 after.
That was my suggestion.
So, lead us off, Vice Chair, if you will.
No,
No?
no.
Okay. Board Member? Salvino?
Thank you.
Board Member?
My just general discussion on the patch is that we don't have a patch at this point. It's still in need of a repair or replace or move. Whatever we're going to decide to do. We had already talked about the discussion of the property. We haven't come to that conclusion yet. I mean, you're asking for $77,000 to put into something that is not even working. So I don't understand unless I'm missing something here. Don't even honestly, I don't know why it's on the up for discussion. We haven't gotten past the first part of the discussion, the CRA. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't see any point in even going any further until we find out what we're going to do with the patch, either put it back in full shape or not, whether it's there or somewhere else. And that's, I think that we need to go back to where we were. As I'm saying, I don't even know why we're here. We need to go back to where we were. This is my opinion. Thank you.
Chair.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Director.
Yes, I think that it'd be more appropriate for us to discuss item 7.2 before we discuss 7.1.
Well, that's where you are. That's the general discussion I'm having.
Well, 7.2 is actually a little bit more of a conversation than that.
Michael, we've already had this conversation. I don't understand what conversation you want. We've asked you to go out and get the price on the land, find out whether we're going to move on with it, where we can move the patch. That's the discussion we've had it multiple times. So what do you want to generally discuss again? I don't want to repeat myself. I'm done with this discussion, period.
Okay, then the last piece of that is, at the last direction, you did direct us to run an RFP and public notice to solicit proposals for the existing location. Okay? The thing is, the existing location is owned by the city. So that is a direction that has to be made by the city commission, not the CRA board. And if you agree to do so, then I think Eve in the commission meeting will have an item for direction for you to do a published notice on the existing location so we can do an RFP and public notice to solicit proposals.
Just to be clear, the CRA does not have a lease with the city, but the city owns the underlying land. So there's an item under the city attorney's report just clarifying, asking for clarity as to the direction for the city manager.
Okay, well then back to back to the thing is that this should have been resolved with the city first. Find out what way the city wants to go with the property. And if the city says the patch, that property belongs back to the CRA to do what they want to do it, then the proposal should be brought back to the CRA board about what we're going to do as far as funding the patch and going from there. I mean, the money, I mean, if we're going to fix it or not, you know what I mean? But I'm sorry, I wasn't listening anymore, but I know there's other people who have discussion. I'll pass.
Thank you, board member. Board member James.
Yes, I thought the first conversation was whether or not we wanted to move the patch, not the RFPs that came afterwards. We were discussing whether or not we wanted to move the patch or not. And then there were other items that came before us that we wanted to know how much it was worth if we wanted to go and sell the land. I mean, I'm not in favor of selling the land. We just purchased land, so I'm not sure why would we be selling land. But I think the first item is to decide what we want to do with the patch, a clear direction from the board of what we are doing with the patch. And then after that, if we decide you wanted to move the patch or do whatever else, then that would trigger us having that conversation with the city. But we're talking about everything else versus the first thing that came to our attention is whether or not we wanted to indefinitely close the patch, keep the patch open, if we wanted to move the patch. I also want to know with the grants that we get, I don't know if it's from the USDA or I don't have that information in front of me. I want to make sure we don't have to repay any of those loans, those grants that we get. I know prior or historically, we were tied to some type of a contract because of grants that we received. So I want to make sure with whatever decision that we're making, we're not financially liable for any decisions that we've made. So that's my question to the board. What do we want to do? I personally would like to leave the patch there. I know there are challenges there. If we need to temporarily suspend the patch, I'm okay with that too because it is not being utilized. It has not been programmed. It has not had the attention that it desperately needs in that area. So I'll wait for further discussion.
If I may bring you an update on the current status of the patch. Since the floods and so forth, the biggest operational effort at the patch has been to clean up the mess that was left from April and May. The flooding and so forth occurred. Meanwhile, there were some other damages that occurred, which was part of the conversation why I brought it to you in our July workshop to talk about this as a possibility, as the ideal timing for discussing moving the patch as opposed to leaving it there because there was a fairly substantial amount of money needed to repair some of the systems at the existing location. Okay? Since this conversation has been under exploration, my direction to the patch has been to create a strategic plan to utilize the resources that are available there, but not do so with major capital expenses. So for instance, there is a big expense to replace the sprinkler system. It's approximately $33,000 to $35,000. I have not approved doing the sprinkler repairs, but we are repairing sections of the sprinkler system so it can be used for some of the raised beds because they are growable now. All right. We are also doing crops in the hydroponic system, which are functional. All right. What we're not doing is doing large-scale farming the way that was in full operation before. And based on the crops that they have started in the hydroponics and in some of the raised beds, they were actually in a position to start doing online sales of produce again in January. But this is where we need some direction from you if you're interested in them continuing along that path.
Board Member Davis? Board Member Davis?
I just wanted to make sure that what you had been speaking about, the patch is being currently maintained at this point by one person, or there's
Yes.
something that's going on, there's a maintenance process that's currently happening with the patch right now, and I think that you kind of alluded to it, but there was so much in between that I just wanted to make sure, that the patch is currently being maintained as of now to some degree. And
It-
so I wanted to make sure we all had that information, current.
It is being maintained and operated by one part-time person who's doing as much as she can do at this point. This was the purpose, and again, I don't want to go into this because 7.1 is the follow-up conversation. But 7.1 is additional labor to help actually maintain the patch and prepare it for a move if in fact it's going to occur. All right? But at this point, the patch is being maintained. Crops have been started and so forth with one person who is in operating position. There is a consultant who's doing infrequent part-time work to come in and assist. But basically, it's a one-person operation on a part-time basis.
So in conjunction with, I guess it would be 7.2, this one person would then have somebody who has a subject matter expertise with this fruitful fields that would be able to assist her in maintaining the patch as it is.
That would be correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, when we say the patch, moving the patch, can you just describe what exactly we're moving? The operations.
Yes. So there is most of the equipment in the patch is movable. The sheds are anchored down, but they can be unanchored and picked up and moved. In fact, the sheds were replaced because of the storms. They were replaced by insurance. The thing that can't be replaced is that the insurance also paid to rehook up electrical systems and that type of stuff. The electrical systems can't be moved. The boxes and so forth can be. Air conditioners that are mounted on the sheds can be moved. The hydroponic systems can be moved. If in fact we have started seedlings, the seedlings can be moved to the new location so that you're immediately productive at the new location if it's going to happen. If you don't move plants and seedlings with you in the move, then basically it will take a year to start up new growth and new crops at the new location. So what's being done now is actually, it is a holding pattern to benefit either if the patch stays where it's at or if it moves. It's a strategy so that its productivity continues through time. If we shut down that piece of it, then you'll lose crops for at least a year.
So we have seedlings and plants.
They've been putting seedlings and plants in the hydroponic systems and a few of the raised beds. Yes.
So it's minimal.
Minimal. Yes.
Like give me a rough number.
I think they're generating about. Sorry, I want to get this. I think it's about 3,000 pounds a month. They're just about up to 3,000 pounds a month. A lot of that is of the weight is because they're starting to harvest a lot of the coconuts because the coconut trees were not.
Well, yeah, that doesn't take any farming.
Yes, but it still has to be harvested and so forth. But they're also doing leafy vegetables and that type of stuff in the hydroponics. So they're having a diversified crop underway.
Okay.
And again, it was all done with no major capital expenses to do the major repairs. Just small incidental repairs to where it's operational.
So we move the patch, removing the hydroponic systems and the sheds and some raised beds.
And you do the raised beds. And if in fact if we continue with this, you'll be taking a whole startup crop of seedlings with you as well.
Yeah, for $77,000 though, it doesn't seem feasible.
Well, actually, I would hope that expense would be the fruitful fields for the entire year. I would hope that we would have some direction in the next 3 or 4 months as to whether a move is going to occur or not. And over that period of time, it's only a portion of that $70,000 fee.
Yeah, and the patch costs $20,000 a month still currently. Yeah, and the patch costs we're still paying $20,000 a month.
I think we're paying substantially less than that.
Less than
I
that?
think we're paying substantially less.
Less than that?
Basically, all we're paying is the watering for a little bit of the sprinkler system. We're paying electricity. In fact, most of the hydroponics are operated on the solar system, so they're using electricity, but not much. And we're paying one part-time salary.
Well, I would like to just, this is what I would like to see for now, and you guys can jump in as you feel. I just would like to see, that we only have one person who's maintaining the patch now. I would like to see what this Fruitful Fields can do over a period of 6 months and see if there's any difference that's made within the patch over a 6-month period of time with the Fruitful Fields, and do a reassessment at that time. If you only have one person maintaining it, you're only going to get so much from one person maintaining it. If you bring in a group of experts, like you say this Fruitful Fields company is, then I think that we would be able to look and see if we've had any growth, if we've had any, excuse me, if we've had any growth, or if we've had anything that's been productive over a 6-month period of time. And then we can decide after that. Thank you.
If I may also add, the scope of work for the Fruitful Fields, and again, we're combining two items in this discussion now. But the scope of work in the Fruitful Fields is also to reestablish events, farmers market, and those types of things at the patch. Part of that goes back to what we just discussed about the real-time marketing contract. Part of the lack of activity is because basically since July, or I guess since June, the patch has been closed because they've had no crops. We've had nothing to promote in the patch realm. But with the establishment of online sales in January and so forth, as well as if we accelerate the activity with the assistance of Fruitful Patch, you now all of a sudden do have weekly activities at the patch that would be part of your Facebook and website pushes. So this is these are all kind of connected conversations. What I'm saying, I'm sorry, but it does have some connection with each other.
No, it certainly does. I agree. Board Member James?
Yes, thank you. Oh, this is discussion and possible action. I wanted to see, it's gonna piggyback off of what Board Member Davis has said. Number one, I'm gonna make a motion to approve 7.1, but I also want to, do what we're doing with real-time marketing and, bring in Fruitful Farms to see if we can do like this big restart, rebrand. We need a champion for the patch, and I think that's what's missing. And if this individual is going to be the champion for the patch, if they're going to reprogram the patch, they are going to have engagement and things like that, where we can promote it with our marketing. I'm in favor of doing that, and then maybe at the next meeting, I'm not sure when we want to discuss what our board's decision is for the patch. But until we're ready to really hone down on what our hardcore decision is for the patch, if since they already have things there, I think we need to go ahead and approve it if they're going to be the champion for the patch, if they're going to have a lot of the scope of work to help the patch out, regardless if it's going to be there or move, because either way we would need the Fruitful Farms contract. The only way we wouldn't need the Fruitful Farms contract is if we were terminating all of the operations there at the patch. So my motion right now is to approve 7.1.
Further discussion from Vice Chair?
So here's my concern. You're talking $78,000 a year, and it's going to rain again this week, and we're going to probably have another flood again this week. So we're going to keep throwing good money after bad into this particular property that can't sustain itself unless we spend a whole lot of money every year, every single time it floods. I am not in favor of that. I think that if we're going to do anything, you need to, we need to hear what the discussion with the city is, because that's on the agenda tonight as well for the city meeting. I think we need to have that discussion first before even addressing this. And I think that we need to see what the options are as far as value of the property, what other ideas there are for that particular property, and actually moving the patch to a different location. We've already talked about this before. I know that we've already talked about other locations for it. But continuing to do this at the same thing over and over again, it's like you're banging your head against the wall. We're doing the same thing. We're just going to keep throwing money out there, and we're wasting taxpayer dollars. when we could be putting it into something that's more effective. We just talked about this with the social media. It's the same thing. I have no problem keeping the patch. It just needs to move to a different location where it's not going to cost us $100,000 or more every year and still not be productive. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Board Member Salvino?
Yep, Chairman, I understand their motion, I understand, Vice's, comments as well. I feel like, again, we're back on track of discussing something that we started on a while back that we haven't got a resolve on. I think anything to do with the patch at this point should be tabled until we discuss, like the cities, we're coming up there, find out what we're gonna do, whether they're gonna take it back. Then if it does go that way, then we can put a program together to support the patch or not support the patch. But I think to sit there and throw some money into it right now where we not exactly know, unless we can take that $78,000 and divide it into 12 and do it month to month, give a little bit to see what happens, by the month. But I think if we can do it that way, I don't want to give $70,000. I don't mind giving, whatever, $5,000 or something like that, for the month. But next month I may not get nothing, because if nothing's been done in that month, then it's done. But I mean, I don't want to shut off a program that possibly could work. See what I'm saying? But I don't agree with 78,000. But I would agree with a partial, like a $5,000 boosted prorated. Yeah. That way they have an opportunity to make it happen or not make it happen. It doesn't happen. They broke the chain, not us.
And I appreciate that, but I'm also looking at the fact that I looked at historical sales with the
Well, then the
online.
next month,
It was $2,500 a year.
They're asking for one more shot, so give it a 30-day try.
Is that what the motion is for a 30-day trial?
Well, she'd have to resend the motion and make a new motion. She made the motion.
Okay, well, you seconded it.
I know. Well, I withdraw my second.
My motion is, who phone?
Board Member James?
My motion is not for 30 days. It's very difficult for anyone to get real results when at this point, we're starting from ground zero with the patch. So we have to be realistic. 30 days is not going to really, that's just the footwork that has to be done. That's a lot of the cleaning that's going to have to happen with Fruitful Farms and everything else. So I guess I'll support, I think, did you make a motion or you just? So I'll support, if we can do it in a prorated manner, or if we have a clause to get out of the contract, like 30 days or something like that. Do we have that?
The total contract is payable on a monthly basis with equal monthly installments, so it's not a lump sum payment.
Right, okay. If
Yes.
we wanted to terminate the contract, is there a penalty?
Yes,
Is there a
no,
stipulation?
there's no penalty. It's terminated. It can be terminated, probably with 10 days
They
notice.
terminate the agreement of 10 days notice.
Okay. Okay, so again, I want them to come here as well with the marketing, so we can really have a ground rules discussion. I do want to support it. I'll keep my motion 7.1. I think I'll look for a different second, because we can always terminate it. And then we'll see what we want to do generally. But I hear you saying, like, if the city's going to take it back, that's up to us here. If we want to give it back to the city, I guess I'm not clear of the conversations that's happening with the city, saying if the city wants to take back the patch or not. I didn't know that was. I
Commissioner,
understand
I'm
it's the
sorry,
city's
board
property.
member, just to be clear, 2 months ago, there was a motion made by the CRA that was approved by, I think it was 3-2, to have the property put out for bid for
For
sale.
approvals, correct.
And the thing is, you were giving that direction to Michael Chen as the executive director when it was city property. So the item on the agenda is to give that direction to the city manager or clarify what your purpose is, because that direction was not given to the city manager, and the executive director cannot give that direction to the city
Right,
manager.
but it's not for us to give back the property. It's for them to forego
tell us
the
what you wanna
RFP
do
process
and-
if that's what we wanted to do.
Yes.
Okay, so I make a motion for item 7.1 to approve it.
There was already a motion on the floor, and Board Member Salvino seconded the motion.
He
You
rescinded.
your motion, so
rescinded
now
his
we need a new second.
So we need another second.
So now we need a new second.
Do I have a second for the approval of item 7.1? Further discussion?
I was just going to say one more thing.
Okay.
You made a little something that followed Michael's thing about the cleanup. April was 8 months away. Why is it not cleaned up? I don't understand unless I'm not understanding what he said, but he said cleaned up. It's still under, under not repair. It's got overgrow. It's got this. If you're going to start cleaning up, I mean, what did we do for 8 months?
Well, actually, the rains were in April and May.
Michael,
Since
it takes
May-
30 days to clean a piece of property.
Yeah, but since May, there's only been one part-time employee at the place.
Okay, so, okay, never mind. I'm done. I don't need an explanation for 7 months. Okay, because there is no logical explanation in my opinion. So I don't want to argue with you about it or hear it because I wouldn't believe it. I don't want to argue with you. Sorry.
All right, thank you, Board Member Salvino. All right, so I have a motion to approve item 7.1. Do I have a second? I have a motion to approve item 7.1. Okay, I have a second. Laura, could you call to a vote?
Sorry, was that Board Member Davis?
Board Member James
Okay.
made the motion. Board Member Davis seconded it. Board Member James made the motion to approve item 7.1 as is.
I'm sorry, give me 1 second.
Or for 6 months, correct?
Well, I just said as is because it's a
Yeah, it's
10
Ralph.
day.
Yeah, yeah.
Because what if we don't want it? About 6 months, then you have to come back. So
Ralph.
what if we don't want it? About 6 months, then you have to come back. So
Ralph.
if we don't want it? About 6 months, then you have to come back.
All right, please call the roll.
I'm trying to
Call the roll.
gain control of my
No problem. It's a.
This way you get to.
Board Member Davis? Board Member Davis?
Call for the vote.
Yes.
Board Member Davis?
Yes.
Board Member Davis? Board Member
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Board Member Salvino?
No.
Yes.
Vice Chair Llewellyn? Vice
No.
Chair Llewellyn? Chair Ryan?
No.
Chair, the motion fails.
No. All right.
Chair, the motion fails.
Chair,
Go ahead, Board Member.
this item has been we talk about it a lot, and I really would like to see the patch viable. I really would, and I just don't understand. We've been talking about it, talking about it, talking about it. We need to get either a direction and someone to take that direction and follow it from A to Z. Because it seems like we keep bringing, it's almost like we're talking about something that we've already talked about that's not getting done. We can't go throwing 75,000 out there when it's not viable. I want to fix the patch. I want it to work. When it was working at its best, it was fun. I mean, I remember all the things that were going on. But the thing is, right now, it's not organized. And in Michael's defense a little bit, he doesn't even have a whole staff to work with him. He's by himself, and then we don't have anybody over there. But we have to have a game plan, or he has to, or the city has to have a game plan of where we start and how it's going to go. So, first thing is the property. What are we going to do? We're going to move it, or we're going to stay. Once we make that decision, then we can take the next step. But right now, to sit there and offer monies, we got to make a decision. So, I'm asking you to ask whoever it takes to get this going, and let's finish it. And not beat it around.
Yes, that's why I brought this up last meeting. Yes, that's why I brought this up. It's a tough item, okay? And you guys who've been here for a long time, like you said, you've seen the glory days, I guess, of the patch. But from when we spoke to experts, they said that it's not even a viable farming area that came in here a month or two ago. And they said that the new area that we chose, which is city property, is more viable. It has fruit trees as well. And, we could still keep it operating. And if we're going to discuss the property, which we're going to discuss as a city, I really think that property should remain green space, open, and accessible to the community, the surrounding community.
You know what?
If you ask me, I would like to we could do it. We could phase it out. Okay, we could phase out the patch and move it over, or we could do 50-50. There's existing structures already. We have that big overhang, and that could be utilized over at the patch for something else that we repurpose it for. I would like to make it a mixed park, like a garden park. It doesn't have to be farming. It could be a nice garden, a walkable garden, and you could have some type of activities. You could bring in like exercise machines. There's all types of different new innovative ways. We're a very park-centered city, I would say. That's our shift, and that's exciting to even have the opportunity for something to create at the patch and to make it community accessible. Because right now, let's be honest, not many people go to the patch. I hear that they have field trips there with children and whatnot, and that's great. I'd love to maintain children coming out to our parks for field trips and, teaching them something about gardening or farming or butterflies or whatnot. That's fine with me. So I want to keep the property. I don't want to put it out for proposal to sell it. And it's just, you could phase it out. You can make it smaller, really. I think we should just downsize it. We should spend it, downsize it, and then focus on this new plot of land that's not being utilized at all, that supposedly is viable, according to the experts, to have a patch there. So it could almost be an entrance, you know what I mean? So, hey, you see that we have a little mini garden here, we're growing vegetables here. Our main garden is just down the block. And we have sales and we conduct activities over there as well. But this is also, garden slash community park. And I think there's many possibilities. We have very creative people, very innovative people. We have the resources as a city. Our CRA's been struggling, okay? Let's be honest here. It's been tough, just due to resources and manpower. And with general direction from us. We're not giving any direction, and we're talking back and forth. Like I said, the idea of it is great, and not everything is supposed to make money for a city. There's things that the city's supposed to provide, that's for the community, where the city doesn't need to flip a profit. I'm not saying we need to sell $50,000 worth of vegetables from there, but I want to have a community garden. Okay, I want to keep a community garden. And if we could further utilize these vacant properties that the city has, and extend the patch, that's what I'm saying. Let's make it larger. But we have to have a direction. We have to give small goals that lead into large goals. So our first goal right now should be, what are we doing with the patch and with that property? And then our second goal is to create a plan after we decide what we're doing with the property. But we need to make a sound decision. This is why we're elected for this. It's not always an easy decision, but we have to make decisions. And
So,
go ahead.
all right, so and all that stuff is great, and I know I jump back, but then what? We're all here, and if we want to get something started with a patch, and we have that other piece of property, why don't we at least start something there and get it going, and then if it's working, then we go there. If it doesn't work, I mean, and you don't have to shut down this over here. Like you say, you got the building and everything else. You don't want to sell the property, fine. I just thought it would be something that we go. I don't care. I just think that if we're going to put money into the patch, we're going to grow. I think we need to grow where it's not going to flood out and
Exactly.
erode. But I think that we could use. We don't have to do it all at one time. Let's test it. Give it a third of the property, just something. I think we all should agree on that. Then we can fund it and go from there. Let if they don't, the CRA doesn't want to do it, then let the city run it. Let the city build a patch and let them use that property and go in competition. See who does a challenge.
No, I respect your opinion, and I appreciate your urgency as well. Board Member James?
Yes, there are some very good ideas actually. So I think that we should do a joint workshop with city and CRA so we can decide the ideas that you have. Okay, we don't want to sell it, but we want to have it green space, and we want to do this because I think there are a lot of opportunities, and that's what the whole purpose of the master plan was supposed to be. How to get more out of our patch and what we wanted to see out of that. So again, I am requesting a workshop between both the city and CRA. I know that we have the item on the agenda for the city, but just speaking about 7.1 and 7.2 so that we can bring our collective creative minds together and bounce ideas off of each other's heads and have a direction and expectations and timelines, and there has to be consequences when things aren't getting done because we're circling the drain at this point.
Yeah, we can't just throw money at the problem. It takes direction, and it takes initiative from a highly capable person, really, or a team of people. So yeah, I would like to schedule a workshop. We could work with Laura on scheduling that, and Maxine, and the manager, and Director Chen, and Attorney Bootis. Okay, yeah. So just coordinate. Okay. Oh, sorry. Vice Chair?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, first of all, I think what you said, very well said, in your description of what we are trying to do here. I don't think anybody wants to get rid of the patch in full. I think there needs to be a version of the patch somewhere. What my concern is that we are bleeding money with the patch. We keep throwing more money into it, throwing more money into it, and nothing is happening. So I would agree. I think a workshop is a good idea. I think the city absolutely needs to be involved. I think the city needs to be involved, even though it's supposed to be two separate entities. The city needs to be involved in the CRA because, again, general funds. The CRA is primarily funded through general funds from the city. And everything we seem to be doing lately, it seems like there's a lot of duplication. It's very, very frustrating. And it's been a complaint that I've had since day one, quite frankly. But now it seems like it's even more of an issue because there's less and less staff in the CRA. So I'm all for a workshop. I think we need to talk about more things than just the patch, though. But that's just all I have to say.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Board Member Davis. Thank you, Vice Chair. Board Member Davis.
I raised my hand prior to Commissioner James's comments about the workshop. I do think the workshop is necessary, but Mayor, I really want to thank you for your vision in putting it together so well as far as I want to see a community garden. I want to be flexible and I want to see this thing work, but I don't think it's going to take place in a 1 to 2 minute conversation of us going back and forth like this. So I do appreciate the fact of us having a workshop and being able to have a visioning process so that we can really get to something that we can all be proud of and really do something that's viable for the patch. I am flexible with that, and I thank you for those comments. So with that, I'm ready to get the workshop date and rock and roll. Thank you.
Perfect. I would like to invite, can we bring in Fruitful Fields as well to the discussion?
Yes, that would be good to have there.
And the experts, if
Yes,
possible.
that would be good to have. I would also like your lead coordinator to be there as well. It's a long time that you meet her.
Okay, exactly. And yeah, we should have Parks and Rec as well. Yeah, we should, definitely. Because if we're going to discuss a future park, we definitely want them involved. Okay. Now we're moving on to board member comments. We'll start with Board Member Joyce Davis.
No comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Board Member James.
No comments. Thank you.
Okay. Board Member Salvino.
Merry Christmas.
All right, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Vice Chair Llewellyn.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Okay. And yeah, I think we're making moves here. Okay, we're getting closer and closer. Nothing's easy. Some things that are sensitive take time, and I think we all generally want the same thing, but we all are thinking of a different way to get there. All right, so the workshop is a wonderful idea. Definitely looking forward to it, and that's it for my comments. Meeting adjourned.